Oh, I tried Quickness Harbinger. Yes, you heard that correct. This build exists now, and I have to be honest, it's actually great. It's a lot of fun to play. It's, in my opinion, very strong. It might not dethrone Necromancer as a support, but I think it's very fun. And you can use it in almost all content, I would say. So if you're intrigued by this, be sure to watch the whole video to not miss out of thing. As always, special shout out to all my dear supporters that help me keep the lights on. And now without much further ado, let's jump straight in. Disclaimer at the beginning here, I did not come up with this build. I saw it first by Noxy, so be sure to check out their channel in the description down below. They made this public and made a very long and very detailed video about this build. I just want to showcase it here and explain how it works and why you should try it. All credits to Noxy. But now let's start with the gear. The gear is already quite interesting because, in my opinion, you can run full Harrier with Superior Rune of the Monk. That works very well. If you want to go for infusions, you would go with healing infusions. But you are Harbinger, so you will lose actually quite a lot of health by using your attacks and get some blight. We will get to that within the traits. So you can easily go for full Minstrel to cover a little bit with the health loss. And you have some toughness in there as well. You can mix Minstrel, Harrier, Giver, whatever you want. Those three stats I would highly recommend, one of those. And the only important part is that you reach 90 to 100% boon duration. I would say 100 is of course the maximum that you should go for, but it doesn't really matter too much. If you can, with food, go to 100%, that's perfect. I would recommend using either full Harrier or full Minstrel, but you can also put some Giver's pieces in. For weapons, I would recommend going for Staff, Dagger, Warhorn, but you can replace actually anything here. The Staff I would always keep, but you could replace the Dagger if you wanted to. You could replace the Warhorn, for example, for a Torch to get some more might and different kind of CC. But I personally like this setup, so you can provide some nice lifesteal and some nice fear and stuff, and also have some swiftness in there. So that's what I recommend. For sigils, I would always go with Superior Sigil of Transference and Superior Sigil of Concentration. That works quite well. For your relic, I would recommend either Relic of the Monk for more healing output, or if you struggle with upkeeping might, because this build without some specialized utility skills doesn't upkeep 25 mites permanently. So I would say if you want to be sure, you can use Relic of the Midnight King, then you upkeep might and fury very easily. And if you don't have access to that one, you can use Altruism Relic, which is also upkeeping might and fury very easily. I would say both of them are completely fine, but this is the best option for healing output. And in my experience, I think it's not necessary to have 25 stacks of might on a healer. Nowadays, if you can upkeep 20, that's good enough, because there are so many DPS builds, offensive support builds that also give might, so it's not necessary, and sometimes it's actually better to have more healing then. Just keep that in mind. But other than that, you can swap, of course, to what you need and your situation. Now let's cover the food and utility consumables. So for food, I would always recommend bowls of food salad with mint garnish, just for the outgoing healing modifier, while also having healing and concentration in there, really good. If you don't have access to ascended food, I would always go with delicious rice balls. They're very cheap. They will not give you the concentration, but you still get the outgoing healing and healing power, so that's quite nice. For your utility consumables, there is just the best option, which is Bountiful Maintenance Oils. You will get very good healing output from this. It's really strong. Before I go to traits, I want to mention, if you like this video, be sure to hit the like button. If you want to see more content like this, don't forget to subscribe. But now let's talk about the traits. So for the traits, of course, you go for Blood Magic, Soul Reaping, and Harbinger. Just very similar setup to Scourge, just instead of Scourge, you go Harbinger. If you want to be Alacrity heal support, be sure to check out my Scourge guide. Link is, of course, in the description down below. But now let's talk about Harbinger here. In Blood Magic, you get some nice dodge, and when you dodge, you create a mark that grants vigor, regen, and heals because of transfusion. Transfusion alters your staff skills, which the dodge is also a mark, so keep that in mind. And all your marks will heal. Your 2 skill will give vigor, your 3 skill will heal and grant protection, the 4 skill removes conditions, and the 5 skill grants stability. That's really, really strong. And you will also trigger lesser chill planes at your location when you use your 4th Shroud skill. So really, really potent trait now. You will not have any downstat manipulation with this anymore, but you have really, really nice healing output, and the staff skills get really, really potent. This trait is not important. Then you have Last Rites, of course, which gives you some healing power increases depending on how much health you have. And your allies around you will not lose health while they are on downstat, or at least not passively. If they get hit, of course, they will lose health, but not passively. That can help you resurrect them way easier. Keep that in mind as well. For your traits that you choose here, of course, Ritual of Life is some passive well that you proc. So you proc your healing wells the second time if you press F every 30 seconds, and that helps you to heal, of course, your allies, but also it will now revive allies 3.5%. That's quite nice per pulse. And this also applies to your healing skill if you run Well of Blood, so really cool. Then you take Life from Death, so whenever you go out of Shroud, you heal quite a lot, like a big chunk of burst heal, and you have 10% more outgoing healing effectiveness, so really good. And you can drop out of Shroud every like 10 seconds or so, so that's a really nice burst heal, or even lower than that. And then you have Soul Reaping. Soul Reaping is your life force management and also some nice like utility in there. So you get more life force. Your Shroud skills has less cooldown, really good because they are really potent. And then your maximum life force is increased, that's nice. But don't forget, a Harbinger doesn't use the life force as a second health pool. That doesn't help you. If you get hit while in Shroud, you still get your normal health taken away. Then you have Soul Marks. This is really good. It's unblockable. That's not that important, but the life force gain is really good. So you can easily upkeep permanent life force maximum with this because you spam your staff skills. Even your dodge gives life force really strong. Then you take this one for vitality and your incoming healing is increased. So that helps you staying alive a bit more because a lot of your healing is actually for allies. And you have more vitality. So that means that the blight doesn't hurt that much. But if you're fine with that, you can go for more CC with this trade. But it's mostly not necessary. So those two are interchangeable, I would say. And then you have Eternal Life for some protection uptime. That's only for you, but still. And you get some life force while you're not in Shroud. That's really good. So you get a lot of life force passively by using this trait. Then you have Harbinger, of course. Harbinger gets access to the Harbinger Shroud. I already mentioned it. We will cover the skills in a second. Just start with the traits. You will get some passive healing whenever you have Blight for each stack of Blight that you have. That's actually really strong because Blight is decreasing your health pool, but if you have a lot of Blight, you actually get a lot of passive healing for yourself. So if you don't get one shot by decreasing your health, you have actually so much healing that you will always recover very fast, and you have more vitality. Then you gain life force when you enter Harbinger Shroud, and of course you take Elixir Still Gun Protection. That's only to yourself, but with a trait that you have here, Elixirs also grant their boons to allies within the Elixir impact radius. This will also be shared and you can permanently upkeep protection then. Gain concentration based on your vitality, really good. So you get more concentration and you have a lot of vitality. That's why Minstrel actually works very well here. And then you have Deadly Haste, of course, so that you can upkeep Quickness. You have other skills and other methods to upkeep Quickness, but that helps a lot because you can just dip into Shroud, stay in there for like 3 seconds or something, and you get this proc twice because it instantly procs when you go into Shroud, and then you already have like 12 seconds of Quickness and 12 seconds of Fury, and you can drop out and come back in whenever you want, and then you will be fine. This is how this build works. Now let's cover the skills. So I already teased a bit. The Harbinger Shroud is really good. This is for CC, the 5 skill. The 4 skill does some nice damage and CC as well. And it blocks the lesser chill planes, so it's a nice healing burst that you can then combine, for example, with leaving the Shroud, and then you heal like over 10k. It's really, really strong. The 3 skill is some nice repositioning tool together with the 4, of course. This does also some nice damage, and the 2 does some nice damage as well. So this build actually for healer does surprising amounts of damage if you're a Harrier. And of course the auto take is also ranged. Now let's cover the staff skills. The staff auto take is really bad, so you would never use it typically. Just gives some life force. The 2 skill is very strong. You also proc that when you dodge in combat. Gives some regen, healing, vigor, really strong. And of course it's also giving you some life force. And then you have the chill planes, really potent healing skill that also grants protection and life force again. This is a blast finisher here, the Puted Mark, that also transfers condition from you to the enemy and cleanses condis from your allies. So really, really potent, and heals, of course. And the 5 skill is nice because it's some CC, gives some stability to your allies, and gives some healing and life force. Really, really strong. You can see how staff fits very well in this kit. Then if you want Dagger Warhorn, Dagger is some nice life force recovery. The 2 skill is some nice life stealing and healing. The 3 is some nice boon corrupt. The 4 skill is some nice unblockable CC that also does more defiance damage. 5 skill is some nice swiftness and a lot of life steal. This one alone upkeeps permanent swiftness. That's why this is so nice to run. Then you would always run Well of Blood, in my opinion. Really nice skill. Some revive in there and some AoE heal. But if you really wanted to, you could go for Elixir of Promise, but I think that's not necessary in most cases. Then you take, of course, Elixir of Anguish, so that you have even easier uptime of swiftness and quickness, so really, really strong. And of course, it grants protection, so you really want to use a lot of elixirs, because they not only grant protection, but they also give you Blight. A lot of Harbinger skills actually get more value from having Blight, so that actually helps there as well. Then I would recommend going for Elixir of Ignorance. It's a stun break, but it also grants resistance, because otherwise you don't have access to resistance other than your elite skill. So that can help in some situations, but of course it's not necessary. And then lastly, you have more Might and Fury with Elixir of Risk. So those 2 elixirs can be interchanged. I think the elixir of English I would always keep, but the other 2 you can easily exchange. There is a last elixir that I didn't show yet, but you could easily go for Elixir of Bliss because that also removes conditions and grants some resolution. So you can use that however you want. So one of those 3 I would always take. But the last slot you could always fill, for example, with some Projectile Destruction, with some Epidemic if you want to do that, with some Boon Corrupt, with some CC, with the Spectral Grasp, a nice pull, or some Condi Transfer. You can even go for a Ranged Revive. There are so many options, like a Condi Cleanse for your allies. There are so many options. Bring whatever you need. I think that's very flexible in the utility slots. And then lastly, always take Elixir of Ambition. It's just so strong. Gives a lot of like boons to your allies. It's really potent. Look at this. I get all the boons for very long, 10 seconds. Really strong. And this is of course also shared. So you start your fight, your rotation with this, and you will have permanent boon uptime after that. You could, if you really wanted to, go for Flesh Golem for more CC, but this is obviously losing a lot of value of your kit. So I personally think it's not really all the time recommended, but you can of course do that. Now let's talk about the rotation. So for the rotation, you want to start the fight as soon as you are in combat with your elite elixir, so that you can upkeep your boons all, so to say, at the start perfectly for 10 seconds and you have a very high lenience. Then you would use your other elixir skills that you have and use your mark skills, dodge if you have the dodge ready, and go into Shroud. Use your Force skill for some healing, and then you can use some Shroud skill if you want to get 2 procs of the quickness, go back out of Shroud, and you swap to Dagger and Warhorn, and use your Warhorn and use your Dagger skills, and again use your elixirs, and whenever the Shroud comes off cooldown, go back into Shroud, and that's how it works. This is very easy and very like flexible. This is just what I start with, what I like to do to actually keep up the stuff, but you can easily change that. That's not a real rigid rotation. It's a healer after all, so you always should adjust that. That's just what I like to do as an opener, but other people do it differently. Just saying this here, this works very well for me. And you can see here in the background, you can easily outlast the extreme damaging field. Yes, I know the Blight also helps with that, but I also tested it in real fights like Bone Skinner. You can see that as well here in the background. It's very easy to heal your party there as well. So the healing output is very good. Boon output is very easy. It's just very nice and very fun, this build. So be sure to give it a try. I can highly recommend it. It's also very flexible, so that's always important for a healer. And it's a different playstyle, a little bit at least, from Scourge and Ritualist, so that's good. And you will have probably some entertaining times ahead. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, if you found it helpful, be sure to leave a like. If you want to see more content like this, don't forget to subscribe. Again, credits for the build to Noxy. Thanks again to all my supporters. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you all in the next video.